Welcome to Maroon Sports Talk, your go-to podcast for all things sports at EKU. Join us each week as we dive into the latest games and explore the world of sports. Whether you bleed maroon or just love college sports, this podcast is your ticket to staying informed. I'm Kaitlyn Andrews.
I'm Nicholas Speer.
I'm Joey Aguirre.
And I'm Caleb Wells.
And welcome.
Welcome, guys. New week. So kind of get started out here. Kind of breaking news last night. Rumor has it Matt Roan, the athletic director, will be leaving for James Madison University.
Yeah.
When this gets uploaded, we'll probably know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of starting off here, Caleb, I know you kind of seem shocked coming in. Do you want to speak on that and what kind of your opinions on it?
Yeah, I had no idea until I saw this on the, on the brief for today. But, I hate to see him leave. I think EKU athletics has really flourished under him. I know not everyone's his biggest fan, but I think he's done a really good job of just supporting all of our coaches, giving them time, I think has been a huge thing as well. Trying to find, financial support for them, all that kind of stuff. But also I understand James Madison has been on the up and up. A team that you've been seeing, in the rankings for both football, basketball, a lot of good programs. So I understand why he's leaving, but of course, it's sad to see.
Yeah, and kind of, you said, some people aren't the biggest fans, and why do you think that would be? He's very, he has a law degree, so he's very logistics and kind of by the book, and so do you think that's kind of why some people might have gripes with him maybe?
Yeah, I'd say that, and then I've also heard some complaints just about his salary. I think some people have issues with how much money he makes. It's a lot for an athletic director of a smaller D1 school, so I think a lot of people, people in academics and professors here definitely have some issues with just how much money he makes, but others would say it's justified, so it really depends on who you ask.
Yeah, I think financials are a big part of it right now, even with him leaving too. He's going to make a lot more money if he chooses to go to JMU. So
Absolutely.
I think that, as we've talked about NIL and stuff like that and people leaving and transfers or whatever, we always say it always comes down to the money of it all. So
yeah, I think that's kind of part of what you have to kind of do is bring in money. Under Matt Roan, there's been a new beach volleyball facility, new student recs, which kind of is his job, sort of not. It just depends on how you look at it. The Olympic sports training facility, Moberly, and kind of ticket sales, alumni, and then CG Bank Field and all that stuff. So, it kind of does hurt also teacher salary, but that's a whole different debate. We can have a whole episode on that. And so, but I think he's doing a lot for the program. Salary, that some people do kind of have gripes with that. Kind of noticed making the brief for the episode is a lot of rumors for EKU this past year. Kind of, what do you think about that, Kaitlyn? Kind of how would you describe the rumors and why do you think there are so many?
I don't know. I feel like we're just kind of in a transition period right now as we go between, we're about to sort of end the year here, but going in between the semesters too. I think this is a big time of change and things changing and people leaving and people coming in. So I feel like a lot of the rumors right now have been a lot of oh, who's leaving? Kind of more negative stuff, I guess, but I think when the next year comes, we'll get a lot more positive rumors as well, who we bringing in, who's going to be a new change, how are things going to be different, but in a good way. So I just think right now it's just it's a negative time of year, I guess, but we'll hear some positive news here pretty soon.
I think you could kind of, if you wanted to spin that, we could also be positive spins too, because it shows that some of these higher schools, not mid-major schools, kind of want to bring our people in. And
true.
it's that's good. They see success here at EKU and they want to kind of maybe poach, which is the negative part of it. So it's kind of good and bad.
I agree. That's a good way to look at it.
But it has been super high prominence here for EKU itself.
Yeah.
So kind of 30 minutes up the road here, kind of talking about Mark Pope, the new coach at UK. I know our friends at the Kentucky Colonel, their student journalism department's probably been super busy.
For sure.
Kind of taking the load on us. But he sold out Rep Arena. Caleb, you're a bigger fan than I am for UK, so how do you feel about the Mark Pope hire? Did you want Jay Wright? Did you dream big, or did you kind of settle down here?
I'm not going to lie. You saw last episode, but, I definitely was dreaming big. Being Kentucky, you know, I thought we were bringing in somebody like Scott Drew, you know, Jay Wright, but I'm not disappointed. I think Mark Pope was a really good hire. I think maybe Cal did more damage to the program than we thought. You know, I hate to just rain on Cal, but I think he left the program in a state where those coaches are a little weary of Kentucky. Can we still remain a blue blood? Can we still compete at that level? And I think Mark Pope was a great hire, considering maybe some of those negative influences that are surrounding Kentucky right now. He, you know, played for Kentucky. He played for Kentucky while they were good, you know, under Rick Pitino. He knows what winning looks like. He knows what winning at Kentucky looks like. He feels a connection to the team already. You can obviously see that through the fans. You know, Big Blue Nation, you know, sold out Rupp Arena. They were, it was packed house. People were waiting outside of Rupp just to see him.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
I had friends there. It was insane.
And I think someone in my class actually was front row for it. I think, you know, Kentucky's bigger than Calipari. I think these younger fans that only saw Calipari growing up, I didn't see, but my dad, Rick Pitino and Tubby Smith. And so I think it's bigger, and I think kind of let them go then. Like, let those recruits go that just came for Cal. They didn't come for the thing across their chest.
I agree.
I mean, he got BYU a mid-major 100 recruiting class to the tournament. Sure, he lost, but you don't have those high-caliber players, and just let them go. I mean, fine. Like, it's fine.
And that's what I'm seeing a lot of is people are very worried. I mean, just about everybody's left Kentucky. All of our best players from last season have transferred out, gone to the NBA. And then we've lost 2 5-star recruits coming in, 2 of them being, I think, top 10 in the country. And people are quickly panicking. And I'm just like, for me, I'm not worried about it. Like,
I'm not worried about it
I kind of said it last episode, but like, you know, the one and dones aren't winning. Let them leave. They were there, and like you said, I think that was a great point. They were there for Cal, and they were there for the contract that Cal brings. You know,
they're there for the money.
They're there for the money. You come to Kentucky, it's just an automatic bid to be a first round.
They still have enough money anyway in the bank to pay those people anyways. It's not like you weren't going to get any money anyways.
Yeah.
I'm sure you weren't going to get a Tyson thing. You weren't going to get a Tyson Chicken scholarship or whatever it's called. But fine, whatever. Let him leave.
So
I mean, Cal's biggest donor is Tyson Chicken.
Yeah,
like the guy. He's gonna follow him to Arkansas. I mean, fine, let him. Like, I think
we're gonna see Mark Pope do a lot of probably in-state recruiting. I saw something Cameron Mills was talking about, or somehow connected to Cameron Mills, a former Kentucky player from the state, where we'll just see a lot more of what Pitino did, where it was a lot of in-state recruiting. Travis Perry still coming in, all-time leading scorer in high school basketball for the state of Kentucky. And then I think we'll just see a lot more player development that we haven't seen in the last few years. I think Pope has done a good job at BYU of just getting players to stay and just, you know, develop a lot from their freshman to their junior, senior year. So I think when you see that at a program like Kentucky with the assets we have, I think it's going to be a whole lot more successful than having an absolute spark plug like Reed Shepherd come in, stay 1 year and leave, you know.
You jarred a memory for me, kind of bringing it back towards EKU. It's not on the brief, but Leland Walker for EKU has visited Indiana.
Okay.
Wow.
And he's also been in contact on the article I read, if it's true, Kansas, Butler, and then obviously IU. Wow. And so I think it's cool. You never know, Mark Pope can call him. But what'll be cool is just seeing these players develop at EKU and then kind of go up to the big league.
That's a good look for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
well, Wendell Green did it in 2020. And
well, just recently Trey King left and went to Iowa State and was the 2 seed in the NCAA tournament this year. So,
I mean, it's a good look for us,
But how could you, Kaitlyn, you kind of played college sports, how would you want like coaches to like kind of keep players here at EKU instead of trying to hit the transfer portal? Any ideas for people to kind of keep them here?
Yeah, I think it's hard because every player wants different things, and it's kind of like, how can a coach? You can't really tailor your whole entire team to like one player if you need to. So I think that at the end of the day, if your goal is, we've talked about this, like if your goal is money, like there isn't a whole lot we can do at this at like a university like this, just because budget and financial stuff. But I think there's a lot of heart here in a lot of the teams, and you play a sport because you love it. So I think if you have a good coaching staff that's able to build relationships with their players, they'll want to stay. So I think that's a big one.
And kind of reversing here, kind of going to Joey over here. Hasn't said much this episode. So congratulations, by the way. Forgot to shout you at the beginning of the episode. Joey got to be a letter guy for Kappa Alpha Theta. So congratulations, Joey.
Thank you.
So kind of talking about esports, kind of dive into that.
So first off, our Rainbow Six team lost in the semifinals, and
Don't boo them.
hey, dude, they're probably our best esports team. So don't boo them.
I'm not booing. I'm saying boo like
And
y'all
that's
lost. Like
a
that's
threat.
sad.
Do not
That's
boo
sad. I'm not booing them because come on.
But so now they have to fight for third. I'll hopefully get to watch that next Tuesday, I believe, is when they'll be playing. And then going into Esports World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So
This is crazy.
I don't know if you guys can see the
This is
numbers,
crazy.
but I mean, $20 million for the club championship.
And
And
we're
then
gonna form a team. Or...
Where are they getting this money?
I'm assuming sponsorships.
Okay.
I know Sony is one of their sponsorships.
Okay, so that would explain
that's gonna
the money is going
probably
around,
have a lot of their money for them. But they have other sponsorships. I don't know who they
It's
are.
a crazy amount of money.
But
That's
so yeah,
more than you win for like
Yeah.
the Masters and like
well,
tennis.
This is its own like niche
that's
thing.
insane.
Like it's its own thing.
so I was able to find the Rainbow Six Siege Invitational prize pool, and that's only $3 million.
That's
Like,
only 3 million.
only.
3 million is a lot of money
No,
to
no,
me
no,
too.
but I'm saying
but
com-
compared to
Yeah,
the
Compared
other
to
stuff, yeah.
Esports World Cup, yes, they have more sponsors and probably more of a viewership coming this year, but when they said life-changing money,
They meant it.
they really meant it because
That's crazy.
there's over 30 million for game championships. Like, so individual game championships, there's going to be a total of over 30 million given to them.
I can't even imagine that. amount of money.
7.6 million for qualifying, and then 1.1 million for MVP awards. And then also Apex Legends has now been added to the roster of games that
Okay.
will be played at the Esports World Cup.
So I have a
Nice.
couple questions for those that don't
Yes.
know. Like Esports World Cup, is that like how many games is that? How?
So, okay, it's new this year. Like,
Okay.
this is the first year they're doing
And they have
it.
all this money for it
Yes.
already.
That's
Yes.
insane.
That's crazy.
And it was announced last summer.
Okay.
So they've put together this entire event within probably about a year.
That's insane.
And they keep adding games to it. So essentially the way it's going to work is obviously, so the $20 million for the club championship, there's different clubs that are competing. So like
Mhm.
FaZe,
Okay.
Liquid, like all of those professional teams are considered clubs.
Okay.
So when they come in and compete, they're competing at every different game possible. And whoever has the most like points, or I'm not sure how they're going to do it. I'm assuming there's going to be like a point system for winning like first, second, third at
Right.
each game. And then whichever club has the most will get that 20
That's
million.
really cool. And then I guess my other question was like, so it says they're like MVP awards. So are there like big names across like the gaming world? Like I know like you have your like YouTube gamers
Yeah.
like Ninja and like you know,
Yeah.
those people. But as far as like esports go, like
Oh,
you know we have our favorite
yes.
athletes in football, basketball. What about esports?
The one that immediately comes to mind for me is Faker, who is a Korean League of Legends player and actually is so good at the game that like whenever people outmaneuver their opponents, they call themselves Faker.
oh,
like,
wow.
They're never really that good, but like he's that well known and that well respected that they can just call him by.
Do you think it's because he's so good that he's
Oh,
so popular?
easily.
Okay.
I think it's like the
Easily
Odell Beckham
because-
effect.
It
Whenever
sounds
you, like, catch
like it,
somebody
yeah.
one-handed, you're just
Yeah.
like Odell.
Well, because his first big play was when, like, maybe season 2 or 3 of League of Legends. So that's about 11, 12 years ago.
Wow. So
So-
he's been around.
So, yeah, he's been playing for a while, and he's built up that reputation.
Awesome.
I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but
Right.
that's the one I know for League of Legends.
Awesome.
Wow. That's so cool.
That's awesome. And kind of moving back here to the WNBA, Caitlin Clark's salary has been kind of talk of the town on social media
Yes, it has.
and stuff like that. I found an article here by Vox. I'm pretty sure it says her contract is 4 years, $338,000. Yes, that you heard that right, with thousand.
Yeah.
So and she'll make her first year, 2024, $76,000.
Yep.
Which is it says here, average salary of what an accountant makes. So it's pretty bad. I kind of researching here, and it's bigger than just the players itself. The collective bargaining agreement is not great for the WNBA. It says here it's NBA averages $10 billion revenue, while the WNBA only averages $200 million. And but the problem is the NBA plays 82 games, the WNBA plays only 40 games. And kind of a major source of the pay inequality also stems from the CBAs, the bargaining agreements the players' unions have with those leagues, and the amount of revenue they do get to share. It says here the NBA gets 50% of all shared revenue, while the WNBA only gets 10% of the shared revenue, the players themselves.
Wow.
And instead, in the contract with the CBAs, the WNBA players get 50% of the incremental revenue, which is defined as revenue that exceeds the targets that it has set for itself, which is really not good, because if the WNBA doesn't meet those targets, those players don't get that shared revenue.
Yeah.
And so really the CBA just kind of screwed them out of their revenue and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit before, but I just think it's amazing that people are paying attention to women's sports like this. Like, I love that Kaitlyn Clark's salary is common knowledge for people, because this is something in women's sports that typically didn't get a lot of attention. So I love that. But now things are coming to light. Like, WNBA, it's been like this for years, but now that we have influential players like Kaitlyn Clark, people are starting to pay attention. And I think after this year, when she plays, and like in the next coming years, we'll see a lot of change coming with their collective bargaining agreement, with the players' salaries. But for now, it's like they're coming off of what they had last year. So her salary is going to stay the way it is, and unfortunately, we'll see some growth in the next few years, but unfortunately right now, that's how
I think another thing, not that it justifies it at all, obviously they need to work on that agreement, but another thing to take into consideration is rookie contracts are always going to be smaller.
For sure.
I think people, like, hear Kaitlyn Clark and they're just instantly like, oh, like best WNBA player.
Yeah.
She is still a rookie. Rookies usually are capped. I mean, obviously in the NBA, you're still making millions as a rookie, while
The
she's not.
average,
So that's not fair at all. But a rookie contract is usually capped, so that is important to take into
Yeah,
consideration.
you still kind of have to prove yourself. Like, she's been great in college basketball,
Right.
and I have no doubt that she'll do great in the WNBA, but you still got to go out there and perform to get your salary to go up.
Well,
It's just
people are
gotta
like,
happen.
why don't you take the Big Three contract, which is like a ridiculous $5 million.
Yeah.
I don't even think they could have made that up anyways. She even said in her interview that she was like, I just want to be a trailblazer for the WNBA. And she's a fifth-year
love that,
option.
yeah.
She's a fifth-year option. I mean, she made up her contract in 22 minutes with jersey sales on Fanatics. She's you pointed this out, too. She's the number one selling jersey on Fanatics right now.
Number one
that.
selling jersey on a draft night ever, passing Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
For most jerseys sold for a player
Which
that
is
hasn't even played a
crazy,
game yet.
and I love that.
Yeah, that's insane.
She has a fifth-year option. What I would do is they do have a players' association. What I would do
If you were Kaitlyn Clark, or who
yeah,
are
if
you
I was
in this
Kaitlyn
scenario?
Clark,
Okay.
she has a fifth-year option on her contract. So if I'm thinking this right, I might be wrong. In the NFL and the NBA, you can decline your fifth-year option.
Correct.
And you can corner that team. What I would do.
Well, it depends on if it's a player option or a team option. If it's a team option, they just pick it up and you can't do anything about it. But
I mean, I don't know. I think she could have a record-setting contract in 5 years. And I think she could make that up. If I was the WNBPA, what it says here, it was officially formed in 1998, I would just go restructure the collective bargaining agreement in 3 to 4 years, because the revenue, say Cameron Brink, Angel Reese, Kaitlyn Clark, they all live to the hype. Paige Bueckers, I'm pretty sure will go next year to the WNBA.
right. Haley Van Lith soon.
Yeah. If that revenue drives up and they kind of can get closer than the NBA, I would just hold a lockout.
Yeah, I think right now with what's going on, like Kaitlyn Clark, it's bigger than a salary. I think that she's paving the way for like a lot of WNBA players and is setting a standard that's we're gonna see in the future. But you have to have some patience right now, I think, too. Like, as a player that's getting drafted, like there's a lot of change that needs to be made, and we could, like you've said before, like we could have a whole episode about like all the changes that need to be made, but you kind of have to have patience with it. I have no doubt she'll make a lot of money with her brand deals and like the jersey sales and whatever. She'll make a lot of money that way. But with the salary and trying to pave the way for maybe some less known WNBA players, like you got to have patience, and you got to continue to like kind of advocate for that change, which is going to take a few years. So
I think in a few years they'll probably renegotiate their TV contract as well, and that's usually where a lot of the big money
college
comes from.
college women's basketball
Right.
sports just signed a couple $billion contract with ESPN.
Right.
That's
NFL
awesome.
renegotiated
I
a
love
few
that.
years ago. NBA
They
2
should
years
do,
before that.
and I
So-
think in a few years I'll agree they should go back to the table with the CBA, the Players Association. Will go back to the table, have Kaitlyn Clark in that room, and get something structured, and at least get a base salary of $500 to $1 million. That's what I would do, at least. And
Yeah.
so, kind of talking about high success and stuff like that. EKU's teams have seen a lot of high success recently.
yeah, for sure.
What do you guys think, and what do you want to see out of men's basketball next year? Football in the fall, volleyball just had a record-setting year. Kaitlyn can talk about soccer and all that stuff. So, what do you guys want to see out of EKU sports here in the next year or two?
I think personally for me, I just want to see more growth. Like, I think that we've had a lot of success with like some teams here and there, like softball, men's tennis, basketball had a great year. Like, we've seen some improvement with that, but continuing to expand off of that will be super important, because we've talked about this, but being a smaller Division I school, you kind of have to fight a lot more than those bigger D1 schools to get that recognition and attention. So really having those standout players like Maddie Rutan, like Isaiah Kozar, like here and there, when you hear those names and you know who they are, is going to be super important for the next few years to get their names out there.
That's kind of what I see for football is making the playoffs again.
Yeah, for sure.
Have a lot of defensive help. Last year we really struggled on defense, and Parker McKinney had a torn ligament half the year. So I really want to
played on
see
that.
growth in football, attendance, and for basketball too. Keeping that as attendance records, being able to bring in, because we've seen Kozart, Ukamadu, we've seen these guys for a long time now, a couple of years now, and it's going to be a really fresh start. Tay-Tay's coming back. So I'm really hoping that we'll be able to keep those attendance and keep fighting for the #1 seed and hopefully make March Madness. So.
Well, for attendance, I know I wasn't able to go to the softball game last night, but I do know that
Record-setting
there were-
attendance,
yes,
yeah.
There were also people just standing watching the game.
It was
It was
crazy.
standing room
And
only, yeah.
I feel like that could have partially been because of the Greek Week event.
For sure,
So-
but yeah.
I feel like maybe this is, I don't know how this will sound, but making it so there's more Greek stuff involvement within the sports, like finding a way to get Greek attendance there
Talk to Sean.
to fill up those
That's
stadiums.
interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not something you consider when like you're in athletics a lot. It's like, oh, how can we use the frats and the sororities
Yeah.
to like get that attendance up? But after seeing that last night, like
Because
it was crazy.
Home court advantage.
Yeah, I
We've
mean,
seen them pack
having-
out the student section too for basketball and football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't they do the same for softball, women's sports again? And so, like, they're 33-5 now, and she's the number 5 2A player in the country, and to be able to like Kaitlyn just touched on, like showing out to these events, we'll be able to hopefully influence these players. Oh, they have a backing. Oh, their family can show up, and so. And her family was there talking to her after the game. Maddie was. So being able to draw these home crowds, that's why I'm sure, maybe hopefully it's the reason why Kozart didn't leave, hit the transfer portal after last year. Tay-Tay's coming back, because even when I interviewed Michael Moreno, he was like, when you get 3,000 people in AC, it sounds like 10,000 because the acoustics.
Yeah.
For softball itself, it's a pretty small. When you see that it's only standing room only, you see people out on the picnic tables, people on the like sideline right there on the walkway up. Like, that's great to see. And then they beat Louisville, who beat Duke earlier in the year, who's number 3 in the country.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it was
a
a good
huge
game,
win.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'd love that the school's just rallying behind softball right now too. I don't know if you all,
I love
Yes.
that so
I don't know if you all
much.
saw the other day, but I think the EKU Barstool page, like,
Yes.
they
I
they
saw
put
that.
like in their name like EKU softball school, like they put EKU in parentheses softball school.
That's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah, it was great.
And just to watch people yesterday be so into the game too.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to come, but it's another thing to like be cheering, be shouting, like be actively engaged in the game. It makes a huge difference, because you could have people there, and if they aren't saying anything, it
Right.
really doesn't make a difference.
Well, it's not just because we were playing U of L, because I wasn't able to make the U of L game, but I went to the Austin P doubleheader on Saturday, and there were people like EKU people, like, it's just weird to hear them like not weird, but like it's great to hear them like shouting their names, like they know the
They
roster
know
now.
them, yeah.
Like, you know, when Maddie's out there pitching, they're cheering for her, they're calling her by name. Same with Madison Scott,
Yeah.
It was
Janae Riley.
I mean, it's
like,
hard not to know
It
their
was
names.
so
Yeah.
funny. Just all the students walked up to the net and threw the L's down when they were shaking hands like that. It was great to see, and I loved being out there and just showing out. And hopefully they can make the College World Series. I talked to
That'd be
the
great.
SID. He said we're pretty sure if you're top 40, you get an AQ. If we win the ACE, I also think we get an AQ.
Nice.
And so
I think we're on a great path
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
now.
they're
yeah.
doing
Yeah.
phenomenal.
we're running away with the conference.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
we are a
it's-
softball school. So
We are a softball school.
kind
Confirmed.
of our fun topic of the week. We've always talked about sports and stuff, and we always talked about movies and whatnot. Kind of talking about video games, esports this week. What was your kind of favorite video game growing up, Joey?
This is a hard question for you, I feel like.
Yeah.
It is.
I already know my answer.
I
but
mean,
Me too.
Especially
I
where
played
I-
one game.
that's why we're talking about it this week.
especially where I grew up playing so many different games. I know it says any fun memories too, so I think for that I'm gonna have to say Call of Duty. When I just sit down with my brothers and friends, we have pizza, Dr. Pepper, and we stay up all night playing multiplayer sticks and stones or team deathmatch against each other, and going through an entire case of Dr. Pepper in a night
Dr. Pepper.
was amazing. One
We
of
were
my
Mountain Dew
favorite
people.
memories.
Do.
I have the
But,
exact same memory, just with Mountain Dew.
Crazy.
It's
All
actually
it
just
takes.
Mountain Dew. What about you, Kaitlyn? You said one game. Come on. What do you got?
Yeah, I was really big into Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Yeah, I like Minecraft. I think it's fun. Like, I was just telling Joey before this, I was like, I should start playing it again because it was fun.
It's
I
so
like
calming.
it.
is great. Minecraft
It
is
is.
great. Like I started
Stressful,
playing. I
actually,
started
for
playing
me.
it again too recently.
Stressful.
Yes.
I love it.
It's so nice. You
I
get
love
to
it.
just build. Well, you got creative or survival, so you can pick whatever you want.
Survival stresses me out.
Survival.
Well, if you want some stress, yeah, you can do
Survival
that.
is so much better, especially hardcore. So much more on the line.
No.
Yes.
And then
Your
if you're on
entire-
creative, you can just build whatever you want.
I
It's
remember
really
I
fun.
was trying to build a house one time in Minecraft and I fell down a hole and I couldn't get out. And so like
That's
that
why
like
you
the
go
first
creative. You
rule?
can
I was
fly
in like
around.
I was like in elementary school and I was just sobbing. I was like, get out of the hole. And my friends were just like, dude. And then he got me out of the hole and I was like, how's that easy? So I haven't touched Minecraft since. So
What?
So ever since you got embarrassed by your friend.
yes,
you
I
haven't
haven't touched Minecraft.
I think you should
since.
give it another chance because it's
Yes.
really fun.
I need help. So
You-
I might fall down a hole
Play
again.
I got you.
creative.
No.
Okay.
What about you, Nick? What's your favorite
Mario Kart.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or Mario Kart or Call of Duty.
Okay.
Okay, I played more than one game.
A couple. I have a top
About it,
three.
yeah.
And it's
Oh,
like,
okay.
or MLB The Show. We used to have like tournaments with like MLB. We played 9 innings, and whoever would win played the next person. Or Mario Kart too. My dad got into Mario Kart, and he just could get so stressed out.
It's stressful. I always fall off the edge of whatever
Rainbow
thing
Road?
is. Yes, yes.
Rainbow Road's the greatest
Rainbow
game ever
Road's
created.
amazing.
I don't play that.
Anyone play Mortal Kombat? Did you play Mortal Kombat,
Yes.
Joey?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I loved Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat.
I did not.
Definitely Mario Kart or Call of Duty were the best though for me. I would always just get Metal Mario when he came out in Mario Kart 8, or I would use like the big guys to knock people off the map on Rainbow Road. So yeah, what about you, Caleb?
I don't know if y'all played this one, but Halo 3. That was my
Yes.
first. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't
okay.
think Joey played a
You don't
video
think
game?
Joey
Joey-
of all people?
Joey knows
I
Halo 3.
grew up on Xbox.
Yeah. Okay.
I-
Well, that's why I
Halo
was. That's why I was wondering because most
amazing.
people like I feel like are PlayStation people now, so they
No.
like didn't.
I have an
didn't-
Xbox X.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Xbox.
I loved Halo 3. That was actually I think like the first shooter I got to play.
Okay.
I loved it. I remember being like 8 years old, running around with a rocket launcher, just blowing people up. It was so much fun. I still love it to this day.
Call of Duty Zombies also goes crazy. Those like midnight runs, like your mom, like I'm going to bed, and you're like, oh, I get to play with the zombies and my buddies right
Black
now.
Ops 2.
That
Yeah.
was another one of my favorite memories. Was when I actually beat the Easter egg for the first time solo.
Oh, I
on, like-
loved it. Going on YouTube, searching up the Easter eggs, like how do these people
Dude.
do it? It was great.
Well, what sucked for me was I had no one to play with. Like while I had my brothers and stuff, they would not play zombies with me.
Why? So-
So I am very strict when it comes to Easter eggs. Like I would have them train the zombies around
He
and
yells
get
at
as
people
much
when he
done.
plays video
I bet he
games.
does.
Hey,
He
I do.
does.
I'll be honest. I do. I get very, and especially Easter eggs where I speedrun them. I'm used to like when I have to play with other people and teach them the Easter egg. It gets frustrating when they can't listen to a step. So I take it a bit seriously.
I only
that's
had
valid.
one TV in my house growing up because I had a single mom, and she would get so mad coming home from work and seeing me out playing zombies. She's like, I'm not getting the TV done. So she actually bought a TV for her own room. Because I would just I would overtake the living room TV because it was big, it was a flat screen, it was great. And then when the BO3 DLC came out, he had all the classic maps, and then you had all of them
Zombie
combined into one.
Chronicles.
Oh, it was just great.
Yeah,
God.
that was a great release.
Kaitlyn should play zombies. She should play zombies.
I would
Yeah,
love
that
to see that.
sounds
I would love to see
exciting.
that.
I thought of 2 more games I played actually.
We
while
need to
were
go to
sitting
Game
here.
Exchange after this and go buy Call of Duty Zombies for Kaitlyn.
Okay, do you have a game system I could use? Because I don't have one.
I bet one of your roommates has to.
Maybe.
One of your roommate, you can just go buy an Xbox. It's only
Yeah.
$500.
Yeah, let me just go
It's
buy
only
an Xbox.
$500. It's only $500.
Okay, here are my 2 other games that I played. Wii Sports.
Oh, excellent.
They have a tournament
Yes.
in Esports Lounge.
That's what I was about to say. Next week, next Thursday, there is a Wii Sports tournament. So you play all 5 games.
Like
Should I
baseball.
join? Should we take
Baseball,
the podcast
box.
mobile and I go play Wii Sports?
I'll go against you.
Oh my. Okay, no, never mind. That'd be
Look,
fun.
I think it'd be a great experience for all 4 of us to go and see if any of us can win.
I'm pretty.
Apparently, there's a custom trophy you get.
That is,
I saw
that
that
is
when-
intriguing.
I saw that when I was working out this morning. Like,
What
on
is
the
custom
advertisement.
trophy? Like they,
No idea.
Like, did someone make it or is it customized?
No idea. I'm
Okay.
just going off what I saw on an advertisement.
Okay.
However, I was also told that you can win a controller of your choice.
Okay.
I need
So,
a new controller.
Once again, I would need a gaming system.
Just go buy an
I mean,
Xbox X.
yeah.
Only $600.
Sorry. Okay.
Or
Let me
go buy
get
an
one.
Xbox One. Xbox Ones are great.
Okay.
I still
Okay.
have one.
Maybe.
What you
Hey,
need
I
to
still have my
do is you need
Xbox
to come
One.
back for your 5th year option and
not
sign
doing
an
that, so scratch that.
and sign an NIL deal and go buy an Xbox.
Sign, with Xbox, sign an NIL deal.
Sign an NIL deal and go get an Xbox.
Oh my gosh, Nick just keeps wanting me to come back for a 5th year.
I mean, I don't think any of us would be against it.
Aw, thanks, guys.
We're gonna convince Kaitlyn before May.
All we need to do is convince her to get an Xbox first, and then stay.
Okay.
Sign an NIL deal.
Yeah.
Get an Xbox.
It's easy, actually. Really
Sign an
simple.
It's the easiest thing to do in the
deal.
world. I mean,
Xbox.
Okay.
it's not chaotic or anything. So.
Not chaotic at all. Not complicated.
Speaking of chaotic, that was a very chaotic ending to the podcast.
It was.
Very.
But it was a good ending.
It was a great ending.
It was a great ending.
We appreciate y'all listening for this week, and thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you
See ya.
guys.
See ya.
Thank you.